talker. I never say anything unless I want. I was hoping we could be the ones taking on the schemers with deep lungs, and the words were hanging over all our heads. No one disagrees, it's true, but there's enough to be confused, so everyone's trying to erase all the things they said that they can't take. And I don't think I am the only one. I don't think that I'm the only one trying not to care, so it stays out there. I'm a water walker, I'm a quiet talker. I never say anything unless I want. I'm a water walker, I'm a quiet talker. I never say anything unless I want.
There he is,
Right, how's it going?
Michael LoPresti in all the glory.
Oh, thanks.
It's great seeing you again. How you doing?
Doing well.
You know, of course, friend of our show, lead singer for Lighthouse and the Wailer. Excited to see you again. I was looking at the archives. It's been almost 2 years since I saw you, Michael.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you were in that same studio, but it was winter because you had the beanie, you had that whole Ohio getup. You know what I mean?
Nope, it's very nice weather here.
I love it. I love it, Michael. Of course, you know, Water Walker, What's in Your Head, the whole thing, man. Congratulations. Great EP.
Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, how is Cleveland doing, Michael? You know, one of our favorite cities.
It's doing great. The city's just constantly getting better. Yeah, it's just super underrated. I mean, people don't realize how much is going on here, and I think we kind of like it that way.
Oh my God, I love Cleveland. I was married to an Ohio girl. You know what I miss, Michael? Handel's ice cream.
Ah, yes. We have a lot of good ice cream. You have Jenny's, which isn't originally from Cleveland, but
It's from Columbus, right? Jenny's.
yeah, Columbus originally, but it's got a big presence up here. Mitchell's is another great ice cream.
Mitchell's.
Yeah.
Mitchell's.
So there's a lot of
Yeah, but Handel's is the Nirvana. You know, that whole, Bob Evans, Handel's experience, Giant Eagle. God bless Cleveland. God bless Ohio.
Well,
Oh my God, Michael. So, where do we start? I mean, Michael, isn't it interesting? I was thinking about this last week. How it seems like you guys, like the band, you guys went from being like the hottest young band, just like not that far away. Like you guys were like, oh my God, the new flavor of the month, no pun intended, with the ice cream and all that buzz with it. This is an adventure came out, and now this new music and the new EP, and now you kind of have the respect of like an established band. Like you guys are no longer the new kids on the blocks, but it's like, oh my God, like the Lighthouse and the Wailer are back, and then you guys have that respect with you. You know what I mean? Is that an interesting experience?
yeah, I mean, it's definitely funny sometimes when people will come up to us and say, oh, I listened to you in high school, or, it's been I've listened to you for forever. And it doesn't feel like it's been that long, for me anyways.
Right.
I feel, it's not that long ago that this adventure came out, like you said, but it's been over 10 years now. And we're just really lucky that we've had the opportunity to do it for this long and to do it at a high level. I mean, we've been able to continue touring and continue playing and making new songs, and not everybody gets that opportunity. So it's definitely a great feeling to be able to keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean it's great because you're like at a point now where like you're kind of like starting to build like almost like a legacy. It's a beautiful place where you guys are as a band. But Michael, let me ask you this. I mean, you do a lot of production work, engineering, you do all sorts of stuff, and you're quoted as saying something that struck me. You said something that along the lines of, I think what's best for the song always comes first. And I'm kind of here for my band or for an artist that I'm working with to make that happen any way I can. What do you mean by that?
I think that there's a lot of information out there now. There are YouTube videos. There are people saying, on Instagram how they think, that song should be or music should be or their brand of music, whatever it is. And I just think that you kind of got to throw all that out and just do what you feel like is best for the song, use your ears, and that's what makes a song good. I mean, there are songs that I've heard before that were recorded terribly, but they're great songs. And sometimes the terrible recording is kind of what makes the song its own thing. So I think that, doing what's best for the song really just means put aside all of the preconceived ideas and notions you might have about what a song's supposed to be or how it's supposed to sound or what instruments or gear you're supposed to use, and just do what makes the song sound the best. Just do that and don't overthink it, because it's really easy to get lost in all of the different techniques and ideas and gear and thought processes. Just put it all aside, and you know in your gut what's good for the song. Like, we'll make a song and then we go through 30 iterations of that song just to end up at like the first or second one, because in your gut you know it's good for the song, and that's usually the first or second thing you do. And you can always make it a little bit better incrementally here or there, but the main pieces, and at least in my experience, are usually, you kind of know when it's where it needs to be. So just trust that.
It's so interesting to hear you talk, Michael, because I'm not an artist, but I have a lot of musician friends and producer friends here in Nashville, and hearing you talk, it must be kind of like, is it almost like a torture? I wouldn't say tortured, but is it almost like my God, like you're listening to the radio or you're listening to other people's songs or even your older songs, and like, are you like, you have that critical eye almost, like you can't just enjoy it like if you didn't know anything. It's almost like you know too much. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, I tell people this. I tell my friends this all the time, at least. Like, I can't listen to music the way you do ever. Like, it just doesn't happen anymore. I'm always thinking, why did they do this? Or how'd they get that sound? Like, what they do with the vocals here? And, or I'm listening to it like from a mix perspective, like where are things sitting in the mix? And so it's just I think after doing it for a long enough period, it changes your perspective. And when something really strikes you, then you know it's good. And not that I'm like the end all be all of anything. I mean, everyone has their own tastes and preferences, but for me, I usually find that it's harder for me to find something that I really, really, really love anymore. And so when I do, something that I just sink my teeth into, because there's just not that much that strikes me anymore. It's like very amazing and like next level. So yeah,
amazing. You have like the palate of like of a good chef or whatever. But yeah, I get you, Michael. By the way, you guys are obviously gonna go on tour the rest of the fall and the year, which is great. Hope we can catch you guys somewhere. But what I was thinking is, I was talking to some people the other day, and some nights, like let me know if you relate to this, Michael. Some nights you think you're magical, and music's flowing, and you think, man, Lighthouse on the Weather, we created magic, we're unstoppable. But are there other nights where you're like, man, we suck? Is that like kind of like that contradiction, even when someone is as established as you guys are? Like, do you ever have that duality?
Definitely. I think less so than earlier on, for sure. Like, I think I came off the stage probably every single show we played when I was in my 20s, and was like, it's terrible. We did a terrible job. But now I've grown more into just being like, you go out there, we're very well rehearsed usually, so that takes a lot of the pressure off. Spend a lot of time getting ready. And maybe when we were younger, we didn't, when I was younger, I didn't take it as seriously, and now we take it like super seriously and really spend a lot of time preparing. And so now I think it's a lot more fun. We just get up there, we're prepared, we do our thing, we have, a good time doing it. And sometimes I'll come off and there's, stuff we'll talk about where we'll be like, yeah, we could have done that better, or maybe, but I never really think anymore, oh, we really sucked. Well, every once in a while maybe, but for the most part, I think, no, we did what we set out to do. And I think this goes back to the overthinking it thing I was talking about earlier. And sometimes, it's easy to overthink what you're doing, what you're making, how you're performing it, your art in general.
It's all in your head, right?
It is, and you just have to do it and forget about the rest of it. And people are either going to like it or they're not. So you can't control that. Just do what you do it well, and let the rest be what it's going to be. So once I adapted that mindset, I think it just got a lot easier and a lot more, and I have more fun doing it. So
honestly, I think I needed to hear this, Michael, because I mean, I've done many years Miami radio and now the podcast, and there's days that I'm like, I'll just be like, man, I sucked today, or I didn't do this, but it is all in the head. And I'm glad that you're putting that into perspective. And by the way, you mentioned the word joy, that you guys are having joy. And that is synonymous with your band, Michael. And I'm glad you brought that up, because when you look at videos that you guys make, and you guys are always also the performances, you guys look like the happiest fucking band. You know, it's real, right? Like, what is the source of this? Like, is it gratitude at something as simple as that? Or like, what's the source?
Yeah, I mean, gratitude is definitely a big part of it. I'm like super thankful we're still making music. It's a super tough industry, very tough. And we might talk time as well, but there's no easy days in the music industry. It's always a struggle and a fight, and there's so much out there now. But along the way, I think we just got to a point, like I talked about earlier, where it was just like we can't control, a bunch of the different things that are happening. Have to roll with it. I think once we got into that mindset, like I was telling you earlier, I think it just changed the way that we looked at music, and it changed the way we looked at, how we looked at ourselves, actually, I think, too. I mean, I used to take what we did too seriously, and Mark, in the band, he always, he's more of like the let's not take it seriously guy in the group, and I'm like the let's take it really seriously guy, not from a need to do this well perspective. Everybody wants to be excellent, but sometimes I think that I tried to be too serious with everything, and too like, oh, it's got to be this way or else we can't do it. And is the opposite of that. And so I think we balance each other out really well. And Ryan, he's always there mediating between the two of us, which is hilarious. That's our band dynamic. I just described it in one thing, but
no, it totally makes sense. Yeah,
I think we just, and we know each other now, and so all of it is just easy. It's just much easier than it was before, and we all know our roles, and we're all good friends, and I think that plays a huge part in just having fun and enjoying what we're doing.
I love it. And it's coming through in the music, Michael, and I appreciate your time. I could talk to you for a long time, but let me ask you about, Water Walker and just the way just the theme of that, of just like the mindset. And I love how, just the value of how you're putting kind of like, I think you're talking about mental health in a more profound way. Most people just say, it's important to have kind of a positive outlook and all that. But tell us a little bit about the meaning of the song, of the project, and kind of like where the idea to kind of just like to tackle this in a lighthearted and fun way came from.
Yeah. So, I mean, the EP really comes from a place of like communication. It's about communication. So each song has its own thing. So What's in Your Head is between two people. I'll Wait for You is kind of like conversation with the world at large, and then Water Walker is the one. I'm sorry, I got it up. So What's in Your Head is between, I was actually just reading it because I was like, I gotta remember exactly what What's in Your Head is conversation between yourself, like your internal conversation. I'll Wait for You between two people, and Water Walker is kind of like conversation with the world at large. And I think all of those songs have to do really with just identifying who you are and kind of accepting the good in what you bring to the world. And it is difficult to do that. And I think a lot, I can't speak, from any kind of clinical perspective on mental health, but I can speak from my own, experience with it, where I feel like that part of what people struggle with is just accepting the good in who they are and being okay with sharing that with the world. It's difficult sometimes for people to accept that they have something great about them. It may not be exactly the thing they want it to be, and sometimes most of us have to work really hard to, get better at the things that we care about. But I think acceptance of just the idea that we are who we're supposed to be, it's just finding that and being okay with it. It's like we get in our own way a lot, I think, with that. So at least for me, I've gone through ups and downs in my career, in my life, and all throughout it, I just believe that if you look at life and say that, hey, maybe not everything's going to be okay, or maybe things have changed, or maybe things are not where I want them to be, but you say, I can find something good today, find something that is going well for me right now.
Right.
And I And so with the EP, I think it was really just this idea of saying, hey, there's all these conversations we have, and let's kind of explore what those look like. And so I took, each of the songs and kind of progressively walked them through internal between two people and then with the broader world. But they all really come from the perspective of my perspective. And, but I hope that people can take that and say, okay, cool. Maybe I can have those conversations as well and be a little more honest with myself. And, maybe that changes your perspective on life. And if it does, then I hopefully it helps people to see themselves in a more positive way.
It's amazing. Just to see your songwriting from, Talk, Mount Royal and where you are now, it's pretty mind blowing. You guys have always been great songwriters, but like you guys are reaching, if I may say so, a new peak. But let me leave you with this, Michael. Thanks for your time. Do you ever, guys, as a band, I know I love Ohio, love it, love Cleveland, our friends at the Rock Hall, great friends of ours, great city. But do you ever, hold on, sorry, I have some video issues. Do you guys ever think, man, I wish that like we would move to, a Nashville, an LA, a New York? Does that thought ever cross your mind, even for a split second as a band?
It does. I mean, we've definitely thought about it before. It's never really been the right timing for us, I don't think, but we talk about it all the time. Cleveland is great, but it is small. And when it comes to some of the other things that we do together, like, Mark and I both, write songs outside of the band. We both work on, mixing and doing all of various production aspects and songwriting and things like that. So sometimes, we're like, Cleveland's pretty small, but I don't know. There's been a lot of advantages to being here. It's very cheap to live here compared to probably those places. It's, Cleveland fosters a really cool community because it's a kind of like a big city, but it's small. And so everybody knows each other. And and so there's so many advantages, but yeah, I mean, we've thought about it and I would not be opposed to it. It's just something that would have to be the right timing and it would have to feel like that this is a logical step for us to take in order for us to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's been on the radar.
Amazing. Well, Michael LoPresti, what can I say? Let's not wait another 2 years because you guys are ass. Water Walker, the EP, fantastic. And we can't wait to see you guys hit the road.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate you having me.
Totally. Take care.